If your reaction to that game wasn't just a big old fist pump and a yes, yes, let's go, then you got to get checked out because something's wrong with you. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome in to the Seattle Mariners post game recap. Mariners defeat the Athletics tonight 5-3. They improve to 21-14 on the season. They will remain in first place in the AL West. They will go for their ninth straight series win tomorrow afternoon. Before I dive any further, as always, hit the like button. It does help the video out tremendously. Subscribe if you're new or lurking. I'm 388, 89 subs away from 5,000. We're getting there. We are getting closer. That's thanks to all of you. And comment your thoughts on the team and the game down below. What a win. It was a game that I didn't think they were going to pull out. I really didn't. It just all game, the Mariners would score, A's would answer right back. Mariners score, A's answer right back. Mariners get some guys on, can't come through. Either terrible at bats or hard hits that find gloves. A's, they've got ground balls finding a hole there. Move my fan on me a little bit more there. That eighth inning, Rooker gets the double, Soderstrom bloops one in there. And it's just like, it just didn't seem like it was in the cards. Yesterday was kind of the same way. And it kind of feels like the Mariners might be due to lose a series. So you're kind of like back in mind, like, yeah, I kind of figured this may be happening here. So, and the A's been playing really good ball. So all that put together, I talk about it sometimes how some games just seem predetermined. They're not, obviously. The Mariners have won some games where that Angels series just kind of going in felt like they'd win it. This just felt like one they weren't going to get, and they found a way to get it done. And, I don't want to say they stole one because this was two coin flip games. They won one, they lost one. That's baseball. But man, anytime you go into the ninth down a run, and they were down to their final two outs, and to score 3 runs and win it was huge. And they didn't have Andres Munoz tonight to lock it down either. So really, kind of up against it. And this team just keeps finding a way. The type of wins that make you think maybe something special is going on with this team. Is something special going on? I don't know, but they are in first place. Now we saw a 10-game lead disappear very quickly last year, but it is still better to be in first right now than it is to be 5 games back. Like, it's still really early. There's tons of baseball left, but we're also we're starting to get into it a little bit now, right? Like, we're approaching mid-May, second week in May here. So we're starting to get into the groove. There's certainly teams like the White Sox and Rockies that are probably already out of it. So we've already got 2 eliminated this season. So it does matter. These wins absolutely matter for this team. I did a short on the Leody Taveras pickup. I definitely think it can help. I think he's better than Rylan Thomas. I want to really focus on this game, which was amazing. But I do think Taveras can help. If anything, he's an outstanding defender with a good arm and can run the base as well. So he's going to give you some value doing that for sure. And, 2023, 100 WRC plus, he's got a little pop in the bat. Again, he's not brought in to be, Julio or to be, Juan Soto. That's quite a leap there, I think. But he's just brought in to, maybe unlock a little something in their former top prospect. I think Leody Taveras can help. And if he doesn't, yeah, it is a little bit of money. It shouldn't be anything that concerns the Mariners, but we know this ownership can get cheap at times. So it's definitely a little bit of a risk from that standpoint. But I think it's a risk that's worth it. And I applaud the Mariners for doing it, right? They've been devastated by injuries in the outfield. You've lost Robles and Raleigh. Dylan Moore does come back today. Samad Taylor sent down. You've lost Bliss. So you've lost some of that depth there. Dylan Moore could play the outfield. Now Dylan's back. So not the best example, but, I talked about they needed to make a move for an outfielder, I thought, and they did. So, maybe Taveras doesn't work out. It's very possible. Like, he could just be awful, but I appreciate them trying. And you can, if you think Rylan Thomas is better, you can bring him back up if Taveras stinks. It's worth a shot. It is absolutely worth a shot to see if there's something in there. And then when you get those guys back, I think Taveras can be a solid fourth outfielder for you. But, man, what a win. I hope we can all be as productive as Cal Raleigh on our days off. Because my days off, I've got a butt print in my lazy boy. That's me on my days off. Cal Raleigh comes up and hits a game-winning 2-run single. That's my MVP. That is the big dumper. I know Aaron Judge is having a better season. I'm being a homer. Sorry. I'm a Mariners fan. I'm going to be a homer sometimes. deal with it. Like, I mean, right? Is that part of what makes us fans? Like, and I do think Cal Raleigh is having an MVP season. It would probably go to Judge if it ended tomorrow, but who cares? I'm voting Cal with my non-existing vote. Um, yeah, just you know, and it's kind of nice too because the A's won tonight. They would have been in first place, and this is an A's team that's building confidence, a young roster. I like this A's roster. I really do. If they weren't in the AL West, I would really be rooting for them. I feel gutted for the people in Oakland that lost their team. I wish they were an NL team because I'd really, really enjoy watch. I actually enjoy watching them now. It's just, unfortunately, I got to root for them to lose, but they've got a really solid young core. I do worry about the pitching a little bit, missing a frontline starter. They've got some good starters, but I do think a lack of a frontline starter could hurt them, but we'll see what they do at the deadline. But anyways, my point is going to be, they win yesterday. They just had a nice road trip. They went to Texas, won 3 out of 4, won 2 out of 3 in Miami, come home, get a walk-off win against the Mariners, rally in the bottom of the 8th here to take the lead. And their confidence has got to be through the roof. Huge. And then you kind of took one for them. And maybe just a little bit, and not that the Mariners are the big boys on the block. That's probably the Astros in this division. But a Mariners team that's been through a little bit more than this A's team, a little bit of a, sit down, guys, sit down. We're not going anywhere kind of a win. So, I don't want to say you humbled them or anything, but, it definitely, it is nice to bring down their hot streak a little bit and get that win. And, keep that first place lead on them, for now, at least. We'll see how it goes the rest of the year. Very much like the Mariners, their schedule gets a lot tougher coming up here. So they're going to be put to the test in the next few weeks, as are the Mariners. Mariners are going to be playing the Padres, the Yankees. Toronto's not a bad team. I think there's someone else. I think Houston's in there as well. It's funny because a lot of times on here, I'll talk about things like, hey, Mason Miller threw 30 pitches last night and that could help you the next day. And sometimes it comes to fruition, or excuse me, sometimes it does not come to fruition. Sometimes it does. Tonight it did, right? Like Mason Miller threw a lot of pitches on Saturday, threw yesterday. He was down today. They had to go to Tyler Ferguson, that was his 4th day in a row pitching. Kind of wild that they had him pitch. And he looked kind of tired out there, and he took advantage of it. Meanwhile, the Mariners were without Andres Munoz tonight and found a way to make it work. I also thought Emerson Hancock was outstanding tonight. I think maybe not outstanding, but really good. You know what? Screw it. He was outstanding. He has been really good in his last 4 starts, and he deserves a ton of credit because he has really helped stabilize this rotation. And I owe him an apology because I was done after that first start against the Tigers. You guys can go back and watch that video. I was like, get this guy out of here. Done watching him. I'd rather watch the Pebble. I said that even after the start against the Giants. Like, well, it looked better than Hancock. Emerson Hancock looks like a legitimate big league pitcher. He's keeping the ball on the ground. The stuff looks better. Velocity's a little sharper. The pitch has got a little more bite to him. He looks like a big league pitcher. Not a frontline guy, but someone you have faith in. And I'll be honest, like if the season ended tomorrow and the Mariners had a game 1 playoff game and it was between Bryce Miller and Emerson Hancock, I'd probably hand the ball to Emerson Hancock, to be perfectly honest right now. Now, hopefully that should and will change here when Bryce Miller will get locked in because obviously I think Miller's the better pitcher. But Hancock's been really good. And with the injuries this team has gone through, talk about Gilbert and Kirby, and then Miller not looking sharp. Castillo's looked much better last few times out, doing the veteran, giving them those good veteran starts. And Woo's been phenomenal. Probably the ace of the staff right now that's, of the people that are healthy and playing. But Hancock is giving them a legit back end 3-4 starter that's delivering there. And I actually thought you could have sent him out for the 7th inning, but it's going to be forgotten with the way this game ended and how wild it was. But Emerson Hancock deserves a ton of praise and a ton of kudos for his effort tonight. Speaking of that box score, let's go ahead and dive into it. Let me click on it. That might help. Emerson Hancock, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, 2 Ks. I mean, most of the stuff that the A's hit was ground balls that found holes. It's going to happen. The A's expected batting average on Savant through Hancock's start was like 115. So there were some hard hit grounders, but they were grounders. And at the end of the day, those can get through and score runs, but he's avoiding giving up the long ball. He's not giving up doubles into the gap, stuff like that. So Sometimes ground balls are going to get through. Sometimes they're not. Hey, Jacob Wilson grounded into that double play. And I think the second inning, I thought that was funny. Dan's probably sitting there going, that's what I was looking for yesterday off his bat. And we get it today. And the two walks happened. I think they were both on 3-2 counts. I think both came around to score, a little unfortunate there. In that first inning, Rooker walks, steals second, and Duhar finds a hole. And I'm not taking away from the A's. They did what they're supposed to do in those situations. Just trying to point out, I don't think Emerson Hancock was, like, oh man, he gave up a run there. It was just stuff that happens. He wasn't getting bombed out of the ballpark or anything like that. So really nice start for Hancock. Again, not a lot of strikeouts, but when you keep the ball on the ground, I think you can have lower strikeout totals and be successful. Matt Brash, 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit, no runs, no earned, 1 walk, no Ks. Kind of a tough one to judge because if he doesn't put his glove on that ball that Wilson hits, he probably gets out of that inning. And then after that, it was when he hit Urias. I think he walked Kurtz and he hits Urias. Luckily, I thought that was in the head at first, so thank goodness it wasn't. Lost the command control there a little bit. Listen, Brash has always been a little wild. That's not anything new. So at this point, they couldn't finish it, but you could also say, hey, if he doesn't try to stick his glove out there, he's probably out of that inning 1, 2, 3, still working his way back, right? We can't really judge Matt Brash's outings for a while, but Dan is not holding back, throwing him into the fire here right away. Gabe Spire comes in, strikes out Lawrence Butler. Spire then stays on the mound in the 8th, gives up the double to Rooker. Honestly, I surprised that was a double because it just looked like it was a solid hit, but it looked like it was just going to be kind of a single there. But he stretches it into 2. Again, Leody Taveras, I always say Leody Taveras, better arm, might be able to throw him out on a play like that when he's in there. And then Soderstrom just kind of dunks one in there. Again, I thought Spire was fine. The only thing he really did, he gave up a double to Brent Rooker. Brent Rooker's a really good hitter. Spire ends up throwing a 3rd of an inning, 2 hits, 1 run. It was earned with no walks and a strikeout. Colin Snyder comes in, gives up the hit to Andujar. Or did Spire also face Soder? Oh, Soderstrom. It was Rooker with the double, Soderstrom with the bloop hit, 1st and 3rd. Andujar, kind of another ground ball, just gets up the middle. Again, hit hard, but, it gets through. And then Snyder does a great job to get out of that, gets out of the bases loaded. Jam, I think he got Kurtz to strike out there with the bases loaded. So nice job by Colin Snyder. Again, gives up 1 hit to Andujar. That happens. Snyder does a nice job to get around that and keep the damage minimal because another base hit there and you are not coming back in that game. And then Carlos Vargas finishes it off for his first career save. 1 inning pitch, gets to save, 2 hits, no runs, no earned, no walks, 2 Ks. Good to see a couple strikeouts. Got a little nervous there. Rooker gets the base hit with 2 outs. It's like, of course, here we go. Then Soderstrom with the base hit. This A's team just does not go away. It's like, could we have a 1, 2, 3 here? And then I'm looking at Seth Brown. I'm like, Seth Brown's mashed righties in his career. It's just one of those games like he's going to get into one and the A's are going to win this, but he flies out to Dylan Moore and the Mariners get the W. So great job by Vargas, who threw 34 pitches yesterday, throwing again today. A little surprised by that, but Vargas hasn't pitched a lot, right? It's not just yesterday. Munoz, with Munoz, who threw, I think, 30 pitches yesterday. He pitched on Saturday. He then also, he's pitched more, whereas Vargas has had, I don't think he pitched in the Texas series. Yes, he threw yesterday, but was able to get you an inning today. So Vargas has been fantastic this year. And it's nice to see some value out of the Geno trade. Certainly not a trade it looks like the Mariners are going to win, but Carlos Vargas showing that he does have some good stuff. So nice job by him. And after throwing all the pitches yesterday, so really gutsy performance there by Vargas. Gutsy performance by the pitching staff as a whole. This A's team is relentless. They do not strike out. They put things in play. They just, they don't die even that 9th inning. I mean, just they would not go away. Like I was saying, I was just expecting Seth Brown to almost hit a home run there. So good job by the Mariners pitching staff. They walk 4. They do strike out 7, which isn't a lot necessarily, but again, versus a team that doesn't strike out a ton. Other thing to mention with Hancock only striking out 2 is the A's just don't strike out. So nice job by the pitching staff today. Did what they need to do. A little dicey there at the pen. A little surprised Hancock came out after 6 innings at 71 pitches. Listen, I can get where Dan's coming from. Like, he got the 6 innings out of Emerson Hancock. You don't want to run him out there and ruin his confidence. But the bullpen was pretty taxed today. I think you could have maybe aligned that a little bit better by having Hancock try go 7, and then you've got Spire, Brash, and whoever else is left for that 8th and ninth inning potentially. So I probably would have left Hancock in. Now, if it was any other day and you had a day off and everybody was good to go, I have no problem taking him out there. But I think with kind of the bullpen being a little banged up, might have been the good decision to leave him in. But, it works out and the Mariners get a win, and that's what's most important. Let's look at the offense today. The Mariners do get 10 hits, 4 walks today. They score 5 runs. Kind of a mixed bag, right? Like, some good contact today. I thought they actually hit Springs pretty hard. Didn't get a lot to show for it, unfortunately. But they also had overall just some rough at-bats with runners in scoring position. I think Randy Arozarena had maybe the worst at-bat I've ever seen in my life against, who was it? Sterner. I think I need to get my eyes checked looking at these computer screens. On 3 pitches, struck out in just a brutal at-bat. Garver left some guys on. So, there were some at-bats that make you go, oh, come on. But they also, like, Randy hit a couple line drives at 105 that were right into the center fielder. Master Boney had a line drive with Dylan Moore on at second that was caught. I think there was another one as well that I'm missing, but it doesn't matter. So kind of a mixed bag, like, not amazing, but also a game that last year we probably would have been more than fine with. So, I think maybe a little bit of like, we've seen them produce a ton, and, now we're kind of changing our expectations. Real quick, I do want to talk about the 7th inning. Let's pull up the box score here. Was it the 8th? I think it was the 7th. I think it was the top of the 7th. I want to pull this up here. I want to talk about this inning a little bit. It was the 7th. So Masterboni doubled on a ball that questionable fair or foul, but it's a double. By the way, Miles Masterboni, no career double or extra base hits off a lefty, has 2 doubles today off a lefty. And Jeffrey Springs hadn't given up an extra base hit to a lefty, or only 1 or something all season, and he gives up a double to Miles Masterboni. Wild. Baseball. Only in baseball can stuff like that happen. Anyways, Masterboni gets the double. JP walks, and then Jorge Polanco bunts. I don't think that was Dan's call, and maybe it's been updated on Twitter. I don't know. I think Polanco chose to do that. Again, they won, so not something I'm going to focus on too much. But I think Polanco was trying to bunt for a hit there. The way he kind of ran out of the box wasn't like it was a sacrifice. So I don't think that was on Dan. If something was announced, let me know in the comments. If it was on Dan, that was stupid, because one, you've got Sterner, who's really good warming up in the bullpen, and Polanco's one of your best hitters. I know right-handed he hasn't swung as much this year, for sure, but you still don't want him to bunt. And Jorge Polanco playing second base tonight and batting right-handed, so good to see Polanco back in there. That's going to help open up this lineup a little bit too, and maybe give you a chance to give Cal Raleigh a day off here and there, which is going to be needed as we get into the dog days of summer. So that was cool to see as well. I thought Polanco looked okay at second base. Numbers may say something different, but I thought he looked fine over there. Made the routine plays. It's all you need. All you need. Let him DH a bunch, and he can play some second occasionally to help get Dylan Moore more at-bats, maybe Garver. I don't know if you want to, but whatever it may be. So, I just want to talk about that. I think that was on Polanco. Either way, it was dumb. That's a bad situation to bunt because you've got a really good reliever warming up, and Polanco's a really good hitter. So, if, Rylan Thomas or Samad Taylor bunts there, fine. I get it. Polanco, no. So whether it was Dan or Polo, disagree with that decision. JP today, 1 for 4 with a walk. Once again, JP just quietly on base twice, as he seems to do minimum every game. Polanco, a little bit of a rough game, was 0 for 3, but he did walk twice today, so still on base 2 times. Nice game from Julio today, 3 for 4, 2 runs scored an RBI. The home run in the first inning crushed to right center field. One of his base hits was the most parachute shot you've ever seen. Had an expected batting average of 0.1, but it dropped in. And then a line drive base hit, which really got the rally going in that 9th inning after Polanco walks. That was where one of the walks was for Polanco. So really nice game from Julio. Need Julio to get going, right? Really start stepping up. Again, I will say this has been a much better April, May for Julio than we've seen, for sure. OPS is at 730. That's not bad by any means. You'd still like to see that higher for sure, but I think Julio's been fine. Like, there's frustrating moments for sure, and we're still early enough in the year where a 4 for 4 really boosts your numbers. We're still at that point. So, I mean, he could go over his next 10, and those numbers dip down completely. But, there's been some frustrating moments as always, but I think Julio's been fine, would be my take on it. You'd like to see a little bit more, but this certainly has not been a bad baseball player by any means. Randy was 0 for 3 with a walk, does extend his on-base streak. He was also hit by a pitch in that ninth inning, so clutch Randy getting hit there. Again, that strikeout he had was like the worst at-bat I've ever seen in my life, I think. He also did hit a couple line drives right on the button, right to center field. So kind of a mixed bag day there for Randy. Rivas pinch ran, scored a run. Garver was 0 for 4. I thought he was really bad tonight. He's walking, right? Like, he is getting on base, which is good, but Mitch has got to start getting some hits here. I'm exhausted. I'm not going to go over any roster things or anything like that, but the walks are great. Like, if you're going to do nothing else, at least walk. It's why Garver's been a lot more valuable than Solano. But man, Mitch, you got to put a couple in the gap. You got to put one over the fence here to do something. And, I thought Springs was a pitcher he could do some damage on. I knew he wasn't going to get anything off Sterner. That's a brutal matchup for Garver there, but would like to see him start getting some hits. The walks are great. Keep taking them, but can I get more than 2 extra base hits? Can I get a home run that's not off a position player? It counts. It counts for sure, but like, I'd like to see an actual major league pitcher give up a home run to Garver here. So we'll see what happens. Cal pinched it 1 for 1, 2 RBIs, just a nice business afternoon for Cal. Dylan Moore was 1 for 4 with a base hit and an RBI. That was on that sac fly. I thought that was a huge underrated at bat by Dylan Moore to get that run in there. I was nervous because I'm like, man, they're not going to have Munoz. I thought it was going to be Bizardo in the ninth inning, to be honest, because I was like, no way Vargas is good to go. You're going to need all the runs you can get. So nice insurance run there for Demo. And, had that not happened, Rooker's at second base, that's the tying run right there. So nice job by Dylan Moore to elevate that ball and get that sac fly. Solano was 1 for 3. He got a hit. It was one that went off the pitcher. A little bit of a mercy hit there. I think that could have been ruled an error because he tried to pick it up and couldn't get it. Solano's been awful. I hope he gets going. Don't know what else to say. Not sure how much longer he's going to have on the roster. I will say I think Garver has longer because he catches. And I think Garver's actually looked pretty good behind the plate. I think most of the stolen bases were on Hancock tonight, not Garver. So I think Garver will have a longer leash because for first base, you've got Locklear, that could just slide in, or you can make a move easier. I think catcher, it's a little bit more difficult. I know you've got Hunt and Harry Ford, but I do think there's a chance they are worse than Garver just based on the on-base percentage alone. But again, not going to get in all that. And Solano had a hit. He's still been bad, but, hey, got a hit. Rowdy Tellez pinched hit 0 for 2, struck out twice. Ben Williamson was 1 for 4. And a real nice game for Miles Mastroboni, 2 for 4 with an RBI, 2 doubles. If you look at a StatCast page on Savant, like, it's a lot of red. Mastroboni has actually been pretty solid. I don't love that he's kind of had to become an everyday player. Not his fault, just been the injuries. And that's, again, where I think Leody Taveras can help. But he's been solid. He's puts up good at-bats. He makes good contact. Yeah, he's not driving the ball a ton. The exit velos aren't going to be 120. But, if he can get a couple doubles mixed in there and just keep getting singles and having good at-bats and work some walks, I think he's been a nice little addition to this team. I'm exhausted. It is after 11. What a win for the Mariners tonight. 21-14. Go win a series tomorrow with the active ace, Brian Wu, on the mound. And take a big series against an A's team that probably felt pretty confident after last night that they were going to do some damage. So a chance to, like I said, humble them a little bit. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Have a great night, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, go Mariners. Let's go. What a win. Peace.